Listen to the end of this video in its entirety, and I will tell you how these people are going to jail, what's the process that's going to happen with them, and all the details. If you miss it, and you stress out over, oh my God, what's going on? No, I'm going to tell you who's going to jail, why, what direction they're going to, and everything, okay? This is all sponsored by my Clarity group, which the link is in the description and on the home page. Definitely get with my Clarity group. Here's the deal. When this is what I share in my Clarity group, as a matter of fact, some of the things you're going to hear. So hopefully my content doesn't get flagged. Here's the thing. They are going to jail. And some of y'all think, well, why did he go to jail? Well, first, let's talk about Donald Trump. Okay? No, I'll save that to the end. We'll talk about Trump at the end, and I'll break down the only way he goes to jail guaranteed. All right? Because that's going to be a little more intricate. So listen to this entire one. You will enjoy it. My Kamala Harris voters, you will love it, love it, love it. So here's the deal. First of all, there are 8 different types of investigations going on, but I'm only going to talk about 3 because the last time I talked about all 8, my content got flagged here on YouTube. YouTube is afraid of Donald Trump. How do we know? They gave $24 million to that man, and they didn't even have to do that. They gave that money up, and they didn't have to do that. So let's keep going. What's happening right now is there are a list of hierarchy of people I think that are in the most trouble. Obviously, Trump's at the top, but the one right there with him is Elon and Doge. They denied Congress getting in there. They denied Congress getting into those buildings. That is the biggest mistake they made. And one thing for sure, somebody like Elizabeth Warren got a long, long memory. She's coming for that ass. She is guaranteed she is coming for him, and it's about to be on like Donkey Kong. And it ain't going to be over. It ain't going to be no side stuff. She's coming for him, okay? And she's not the only one. It's going to be a whole bunch. And I'll tell you the process of what's going to happen to them. But now this group first, Doge and Elon's going to be a little different than everybody else. Because the first thing they're going to do, and you watch it. This is what's going to happen. I guarantee you. They're going to go after Doge first. They're going to get after Doge. Doge's going to be the first target. They're going to do them just like they do drug kingpins. They don't go after the drug kingpin. They go after the underlings. And they're going to go after those underlings and start breaking stuff down. I think that'll be very interesting, especially since Doge also worked with Elon on the election. Yeah. Here's the thing. I can't talk much about the election. Do you know why? Because the stealing of the you know what? Because YouTube freaks out and limits stuff or blocks it. Or you don't even, I don't want to get my account banned over that. But I will say this, that they know a lot. Doge knows a lot. And they know enough to get Elon in mega trouble. Facts, 1,000%. I think we all agree on that, right? Them going into those buildings and denying access to Congress was the single most stupidest thing they could have ever done. Why in the world do you ever want to piss off that group? I don't know. Democratic Congress may not have the majority, but they have the ability to catch the majority in the next 2 to 4 years, 2 to 3 years. And that is one of the biggest, dumbest mistakes they made. So they're going to get it. And they're going to get hit with some time unless they turn state's evidence. This process is going to happen after the Trump administration, unfortunately. That's the bad news. Because there's who's going to go after him? Pam Bondi? Ha! That's not happening. And some of you still in that fantasy world who think that somehow the whole administration will disappear. No, it won't. Parts and people will disappear, but not the whole administration. So who's next? I think the person next in line is Tom Homan. Tom Homan accepted, and he moved up in the rankings because I didn't have him high ranked before, but he moved up in the rankings because he accepted, according to the New York Times, MSNBC and the New York Times, he accepted $50,000 in cash by undercover federal agents. That is a no-brainer, and they made it disappear. And it's just a no-brainer right there in front of the camera. It's happening. It's happening. Unless they somehow destroy the evidence. And then that brings me to number 3. And what they're going to do is go after him. They're going to have him in hearings. They're going to put him in court. He's going to jail. So here's number 3. Pam Bondi. Oh, yes, Pam Bondi's going to jail. There's so many things Pam Bondi. First of all, what I just mentioned about Tom Homan. That's one thing. Second of all, the people under her have been lying. There have been so many news stories. The recent one was CBS saying, listen, there's so many lies that are coming out with Pam Bondi in the DOJ, and they're the people under her. Like Trump is using her, she's using the prosecutors. That's why more than 10 prosecutors out of the Southern District of New York left. That's why an actual Virginia Attorney General left. You understand? They're not trying to go to jail because they know they got a career. They'll be here long after Trump, but they won't be if they end up messing around. And by the way, she's lost twice on behalf of the administration to the American Bar Association. You don't think they're coming for her license? Shoot, they coming for her freedom. Then her staff signed an affidavit saying in February, saying in front of Judge Chutkan, because 13 of the 23 Democratic states were trying to sue the Trump administration to get Elon removed and Doge removed from these departments. And what they said in an affidavit was that without a doubt, Elon Musk is not head of Doge. Here's the problem. A couple of weeks later, Donald Trump's on stage and he says, Elon Musk is head of Doge. Oh, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Pam Bondi is so much trouble, but she's not alone. She's not alone. She's not alone. Which brings me to number 4. All these prosecutors under the DOJ, they're U.S. attorneys going to jail. From Pam Bondi, U.S. attorneys down. They're going to jail. They're in trouble. They're breaking laws left and right. Well, who's going to hunt them down, Derek? Oh, the Democrats are coming back. And there's going to be a whole lot of retribution. Why do you really think they're going after Letitia James? It's not just that she went after Trump. Trump can see the writing on the wall. Trump ain't that, he does stupid, weird things, but he's not a dumb man. This man has been he's been very crafty, very clever. He knows that if anybody's coming after his ass after this presidency, it's Letitia James. And if if a Democrat gets in office, either Letitia James or Jasmine Crockett gonna be the head. They're gonna be the head. Attorney General coming after people. It's gonna be on. It's going to be on. It's going to be retribution, not for political reasons, but for justice reasons. Like Glenn Kushner say, because justice matters. I like saying Glenn Kushner and Michael Popak. Yeah, but there's a Michael Popak. But they're in trouble. Now, who's the next group after that, okay? Because I've talked about, I'll leave Trump at the best for last, because again, He's the kingpin, head of all this, right? And I've mentioned Elon Doge. I've mentioned Pam Bondi. I mentioned Pam Bondi prosecutors. Who's right up there? Oh, I know. ICE. Oh, ICE is going to get it, y'all. Oh, my God. Thousands of reels of their abuses. There's going to be a lineup of ICE people getting that ass. Here's the thing that's funny. We're going to watch. They don't have political protection. They don't. Well, I was just doing it under the law. Oh, you will slam the woman to the ground because it's the law. Right. You were shooting pepper balls in the head of a priest because it was right. No. That's coming back. And that's why they wear masks. They think they can't be identified. The hackers already got their info and doxed them. You can't hide. This America. You can't hide nothing from nothing anymore. You know, used to be a time where you could take your mask, get your little gun, and go around to that bank and then give me that money. Food and that. And then they wouldn't catch you. But not like I know about that. No. But I'm saying now, oh man, y'all done fucked up. Man, like Menace to Society, Bill Duke's character, you fucked up, right? You fucked up. They have messed up. They're going to catch it. They're going to catch it. I promise you. Because, well, then who will go after them? They own the place. I will say this again. It's going to be after the Trump administration. They don't have forever, y'all. They got less than 170 weeks right now. We've had 38 weeks of hell. They got less than 170 weeks. And, well, they'll steal the election. They're going to take the election. Oh, no, they're not. See, what you forget is this. In the federal level, at the highest federal level, they're ruling. Whether it be that, the judicial branch, or the GOP. But they got a problem that nobody's been talking about except for me and my clarity group. That's why I say get in my clarity group. You're going to love this. Your thinking is completely different when you get in that group. You feel 1,000% better. Here's what I talk about. I say, listen, right here in this area, right here, there's a thing called regional, like the states, counties, parishes, and cities. They don't rule, y'all. Remember, these are the United States of America. The United States of America. Y'all better recognize. You can't just walk up in this bitch. You can't walk up in here and think you're doing something. See, the problem is, and this is what I teach my clarity people, is that most leftists are suffering from an ignorance as well, just as much as the right is ignorant. We know they were ignorant than a motherfucker, but the left is dealing with ignorant. I call HOL. That means you don't know the history, the operations, and the laws of our government. So you think you SOL, shot of luck, but it's not true. And I'm not here to give you civics lessons because that's not what this is about. This is about understanding clearly the history shows, the operation shows, and the laws of our government show you can't rush in there. But Darren, he's doing it. He's getting away with it. No, my used to be ignorant person before you came to this channel. No, he's not. He's not. That's the beautiful part. People don't know that he's losing more than 2/3 of the court dates on the lower courts, and the lower courts handle 99% of the cases. Important thing. So he's up against 677 judges, though not all on our side, across 94 districts in 50 states. 99% of the cases. 1% is the Supreme Court, and they're already filled up. He's not winning. Here's the other thing to understand. You saying he ain't listening to judges? Shit. Remember when Judge Zenas was going to hold him in contempt because of Rayo Garcia? Remember when that was happening? Well, remember what happened? Remember? They came in and said, we're going to hold you in contempt. And the Trump administration said, hold on. My bad. We'll bring him back immediately in 48 hours. That was gangster. Because they were acting like, no, we're going to do what we want to do. We don't care about the judges. No, it's an appearance. Understand that he lies to manipulate. Listen to me. He lies to manipulate so he can appear as though he's in control. It's a lie, manipulation, and a brainwash. Here's the brainwash part. I'm not talking about the right. I'm not talking about MAGA. I'm talking about you. If you feel stressed out by what he's doing, then I'm trying to tell you right now, it's a game that he plays because you don't know the history, operation, and laws of our government. Many people say, well, he's got the Supreme Court. Yeah, but again, what did I just say? 1% of the judges. I'm trying to do all of this around to say, listen, do not freak out. over what's happening because they are going to jail. Let's move this forward. ICE is going to jail. There's a process for them. I guarantee you, 100%. Let's go into the other people. Who else is going to jail? Tulsi Gabbard. But you know what? Before I get to Tulsi, let's talk about the lowest one, the ones on the highest totem pole of this. Okay, and that comes down to Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller was the number one person named in both of the judge cases. In both judge cases where you had the Alien Enemies Act, Judge Boasberg, and Judge Zennis with Kilmar Abreu Garcia, it was him being named. He's the one. His name was up there. You understand? That's the part you got to understand. That's the part you want to grasp onto. That's what's going to get Stephen Miller. See, I told you there are 8 different types of investigations, 3 of which come down to this. The top one being Elon and Doge. Well, the top one being Donald Trump and grifting. And that's the last one we're going to get onto. We got to get into that in depth. But the second ones are deportations and Elon and Doge. Those deportations, they ain't playing. They're deporting Americans. Americans. Oh, shit. Oh, man. That is one of the worst. That is one of the worst things you can do. That is one of the worst things you can do. And I'll tell you like this. I will tell all of you that not only that is ICE going down for the abuses, but they're going down for the deportations. And the head of all these deportations at the top is going to be Stephen Miller. Now, below Stephen Miller is going to be people who are in Customs and Homeland Security, DHS, who are in the State Department. They're in trouble. Even the pilots could get in trouble because they sent planes anyway when Judge Boasberg said don't do it in the Aliens Enemies Act. They're in trouble. Big. Realize that the lower courts, those 667 judges, even Reagan, both Bush, and Trump appointed judges, the majority of which, by 60 to 70%, have ruled against them in the last 38 weeks, last 10 months. I'm trying to tell you, this is not good for them at all. It gets better. Let's go on to the list. Who else is in trouble? Well, after we get those people, the major ones in, who else could be in trouble? Well, as of right now, Marco Rubio made a deal with the DOJ to give up states' witnesses against crimes as well as the informants on El Salvador and sent them back to their death in El Salvador and worked a deal with the El Salvadorian president so they could house migrants. Marco Rubio, descended from immigrants, fucked up immigrants and put them to their death. And he's going to answer for that, along with other things. He's in trouble. Yes, he's at the top. And this recently came out, so he's risen, just like Tom Homan did. He's risen in those ranks. Who else is going to jail? Hegseth. Hegseth's going to jail. He basically took intelligence and put that on Signalgate. On Signal, and made Signalgate. So did Tulsi Gabbard. They're coming after him, and they're coming after her. Those are the next two for international intelligence. People already, my Senator Tammy Duckworth, who's been really low key. I gotta give it. She talks to the press and communicates, but she's been really low key. I think that people like that is coming for her. Because, you talking about people with rank. They're coming for her. They're coming for her. It's happening. In addition to that, there are going to be some other sideline characters who are in trouble. Now, a lot of you have asked me about Voight, and I don't see it. Russell Voight, or whatever his name, I always mess it up. You know what I'm talking about. In the White House, I don't think he's played so low-key. It's not there. I believe J.D. Vance has a chance to go to jail, but he's such a slickster. And I think he's more dangerous than Trump from a position of being slick. You know, Ezra Klein said something from the New York Times opinion 10 months ago, and he was right. And I heard this from intelligence and ex-intelligence people as well. They said if Trump had taken it easy and just tried to easily undercover do things, it would have been a different scenario. And they're right. And I heard them also say that, China did this with Hong Kong. That's how they subdued Hong Kong. You ain't heard nothing out of Hong Kong. Just subdued Hong Kong in a very smart, intelligent way. Xi Jinping is our biggest adversary in China. I'm not saying China is a horrible place, because I know I talk to a lot of expats and people who travel to China, and they're like, oh, they're villainizing China. Of course, they're going to villainize anywhere but America, right? But here's the thing. I'm simply saying that China is very clever and smart and brilliant, intelligent people, and Xi Jinping has played this way smarter than Putin ever could. Putin's a thug, but Xi Jinping is a gangster, a real gangster's gangster. Look at what he's done in the last 10 years, how he's diminished the role of American influence in his own country, and how he's expanded the role of his country's influence in Africa and in Latin America. They've been buying stuff up left and right, and this idiot Trump is falling right into it. It really is. It's sad. But what I'm bringing up about this whole thing is that Trump went boom right out as soon as he came there and shocked everybody, domestically and internationally. Xi Jinping would have never done that. He would have played it cool and slowly introduced stuff. Now, why am I telling you this? Because you should be excited at the fact that even though this seems horrible that Trump's doing this, it could have been much, 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 much worse. And I'm going to get into Trump in a minute and what could put him in jail. I'm building into that. So please listen to this very carefully. Very carefully. Listen to the end. What's happening right now is these guys have tried to create psychological terrorism upon you. And in a sense, they do it in a small way, but they've been amateurs, according to the intelligence community, because they're not letting their own steps grow and connect with the psyops, with the psychology steps. They're doing it too fast, too quick. They don't know what they're doing. And he's dealing with loyalists versus competent people. We know that because the DOJ has lost a ton of times. Just in temporary injunctions, permanent injunctions, state and national injunctions, and actual cases in the last 38 weeks, we've had 200 of those. And he's lost 150 of them. That's what we're dealing with. Pam Bondi is a hot mess and a loser, and she's going to jail. Here's the other thing I want you to understand. When I say intelligence and building up to things, okay? He has tried to push this narrative, but one of the worst things he ever did was fire a bunch of intelligence officers out of the FBI, NSA, CIA. You know the last president to fuck around with intelligence like that? JFK. Now again, I'm not wishing or hinting or suggesting any kind of violence on anyone. I don't agree with violence. I don't agree with the attempts on his life. I don't agree with what they did to Charlie Kirk. I don't. I'm not about the violence. I'd rather argue on the battlefield of ideas and ideology. But understand the undertones of what we're dealing with. You have thousands of, listen to me now, thousands of independent intelligence agencies. Where did they go? Where did those agents go? Where did they go? Boy, girl, pronoun, where did they go? That's the part we have to think of. For instance, some just retired, chilled out, went on their way. Others went into private practice. See, when you work for the government, and that's why you have all of these Republicans retiring, and because they know they're going to get beat. They know there's a blue wave coming. They know there's money there in Congress. They realize that when you work in government, you've been cleared for the highest form of anything. You ain't going to be short for a job ever. Period. You're going to be at this level. They ain't got to deal with this shit. They could grab a real bag, 6 figures or more at least. They don't have to put up with this shit. They can go in the private sector. Well, the intelligence community, there are people who do that. But some of those people who went in the private sector, and that's what I talk about in the Clarity Group in the 8 different types of investigations, actually are getting financed by very wealthy people. Now you say, wait a minute, wealthy people? Yeah, there are 5, that's another thing I talk about in the Clarity Group, 5 different types of civil wars. Do you know that? 5 different types, and one of which is the wealthy. And I don't mean wealthy versus poor neither. I mean, there are wealthy people who are financing these, many of these intelligence operatives to investigate 8 different investigations. It's all underground. So as far as me, yes, this is my belief and theory. It's not a conspiracy because there's been proof of it coming out left and right. It's like, well, how did they find that out? Because people are looking into it. I live in Chicago, and in Chicago, there's a guy named Al Capone. If it wasn't for a black man and a black woman, Al Capone would still be the most famous person out of Chicago. But a black man named Michael Jordan and a black woman named Oprah, and later on another black man named Obama, and of course black woman Michelle, have made this, the Al Capone thing go away. But the Al Capone thing was there for 100 years almost. And the thing that got Al Capone was 6 businessmen. It's called the Secret 6. They went to the president, got forensic accountants, and found him, investigators, and put him away. Now, I want you to understand what I just said. So you got wealthy people doing investigations. You also have, which is probably more dangerous than the wealthy people, independent investigators that are pissed off. You ever seen that movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, that real story? And you had that independent investigator who's doing everything they can to find out what's going on. I want you to pay attention to what I just said. Independent investigators and financed investigators by the private industry of wealthy. That's going to be Trump's downfall. It is some paper-pushing civil service. Listen to me. One thing we've learned, if those of you who are old enough, and I know I got an older crowd here, we grew up knowing you do not fuck around with civil servants, right? Come on now. Come on now. Everybody, no matter where you are in the country, y'all know I'm right. And you done pissed off the civil servants ever since 2020 when you questioned their ability to cover the election. That's why I told y'all, don't worry about him stealing that election, because the local civil servants are going to show up just like they did in 2020. And what I'm saying to you in this scenario is that civil servants will come for that ass. They will find the details. They're not the Jack Smiths, known people, boom. They're the ones who's going to bring it to the known people, whoever it is, whether it be the Jack Smith, Letitia James, whoever, they're going to bring it, but they're going to find it. And what are they going to find? Well, that brings me to the third thing. I said that, the top things are deportations and Elon and Doge, right? That's 2. The third thing is the grifting. That's what they're investigating. There are 8 different types of investigation they're doing. And yes, the election, I'm sure people who are right there looking into it, they got the information. They just can't present shit until we get past this administration. But the big thing that's going to catch them ain't going to be the election. It's going to be the low-hanging fruit. The grifting is the top thing. Grifting, deportations of Americans and women and children and innocent people, and Elon Doge just breaking into those departments. And there's nothing that Trump can do to protect Elon Doge. Elon's going to have to go to Russia. Hopefully he got his own Russian place over there. He can just go over because Russia said, you safe. What I'm saying here is that these top things are going to get them all in jail, and everybody I've listed. But Trump, the only way they'll get Trump guaranteed, if he's still alive, at the rate his health's going, if he's still alive, the only way they'll get him is through the grifting. And the only people who will get him through the grifting are all these investigators you pissed off, who were either came out of retirement, who were either on the payroll of a private industry so they could finance doing this, or people who were just fucking mad and they weren't gonna have it. See, there are three types of real cops. If you've been around for a while, you'll know. They're the right Trump assholey cops. They're the cops who are liberals and you know, they're on that side. But the most dangerous cop, notice the finger I'm holding up, the most dangerous cop is the Dudley do right, the law is the law, fuck everybody, I ain't fucking with no politics, fuck it. The one who, like I said, did you see Catch Me If You Can? They laughed at Tom Hanks' character. They laughed at him. He was joke. They didn't think he was serious. They didn't think he was nothing. They didn't think it was that. This man was brilliant. It's that regular nobody that's the most dangerous one ever. It's like what Secret Service says about assassinations of presidents. Basically, they say that it's not the organized whatever. It's the lone nut. Well, the lone nut investigator is going to find his shit. They probably already got it, y'all. They probably already got it. And they tracking everything. They're going to get his ass. And I haven't even included the hackers. Listen, the hackers are no joke. I said earlier, the hackers are releasing docs information on ICE. The hackers, anonymous, a whole bunch of them are going to get the information that's needed to present to the people, the new people who are in power. 2026, 2028, it's happening. Even Elon knows it. Elon stupidly said one thing, and so did Trump. Elon said when he got mad at Trump, he started posting on his Twitter saying, he's saying this to Congress. He's saying this to Congress. He's like, listen, he's got 3 years, I got 30. Make a choice. That was gangster. And he's right. There's going to be a lot more time after Trump. But then there's another group. Another person. And that was Trump. Trump said himself. They interviewed Trump right in front of the White House. You'll see the video. They asked him, they said, why are you going after Obama when he has the same immunity? And Trump said, yeah, but his people don't. You would think his administration would have picked up on that one. But his people don't. His ass in trouble. If he ever goes to jail, if he ever gets in trouble, it's going to be over that, or it's going to be some of the past shit he had before he went into presidency. But they going to get him on the grifting. Immunity don't make you immune from grifting. Grifting is no brainer. So again, let's take a look at what we got. We got Donald Trump. We got Trump president. Okay. We got Elon Doge. We got Pam Bondi. We got Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard. We got Steve Miller. Those are the main characters. Tom Homan. Oh, Tom Homan's going to jail, y'all. We got ICE. Okay. We got a whole bunch of them. State Department, DHS members, statement. Oh, man. Especially the ones that don't have political clout. If they can give somebody up, woo, 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 woo. It's going to be on like Donkey Kong. For real. DOJ going to be snitching each other like crazy. You'll be like, damn, Darren, you're right. It's on. It's on, motherfucker. It's just a matter of time. Less than 170 weeks to go. And in the meanwhile, what can you do to better yourself? I want to break this down. I want to bring this back to you. You can develop yourself. Come on with us in the Clarity Group. We're a family. We encourage each other. We're positive. And it's something that'll absolutely help you decode drama in a way you've never done before. Very critically. It'll be able to help you identify the data that's working and then be able to develop a better you. And what do I mean a better you? Well, I'm working on my weight. I'm always working on mindset. I'm working on my energy. I'm working on my emotions, my everything to be a better person, no matter who's in office in 169 weeks. Because I can only do so much out there to help, and so can you. But we can do everything in here to help us. The main thing we control is the main thing we control. Did I at least earn your subscription? Thank you. Other than that, stay cool. Watch my next video. And of course, again, link in the description and in my homepage while it's open. Because it won't be open forever. I'm telling you right now. We getting ready to close up a bit. We're very protective community in the Clarity Group because you can't come in there. The people we don't allow are the alarmists, the conspiracy theorists, and the doomsday people. We ain't bringing no negativity in there. This ain't about you trying to get to a private group where you can be stressed the fuck out. No. In fact, I've kicked out people over that. This is the place to be.